Hello and welcome to another episode of Put Me in Coach on episode 126, Diamondbacks versus Red Sox, Game 1. Lineup of today, Vargas is playing second base and he is up top of the list. Gabe Moreno playing catcher. Jordan Lawler playing center field. It's good to see he's coming back. And Tim Tawa at first base. Jose Fernandez came back from the minor leagues. And he's playing third base. Lord Newbar at DH and Ryan Rolsman at left field. Jorge Barosa came in to hit, and even James McCain later on and stuff. And then a lot of people really changed in the bottom of the eighth, where enough of Ryan Wolfsman went to play center field. So he went to left field to center field. Lars Newbar was actually DH, and then he went out to play left field. And so Jose Fernandez was playing at third base, and then he went to shortstop to take out Perdomo, sorry, with the names and stuff. And then Jordan Lawler was playing second base. Shortstop. Oh, no, sorry. Jeez. Center field, and then he came in to play second base and stuff. Tim Tawa went to first all the way to third base and stuff. And then James McCain came in to play first base. Vargas came in to pitch overall and stuff. And then Jorge Barosa came in to play right field. And that is basically it. Not a whole lot hitting and stuff. I would definitely say that the only people who did get a base hit is Gabriel Marino and stuff. Tim Tawa went 2 for 4, so it's good to see him have it. Jose Fernandez get a base hit as well, but that's pretty much it. Not really whole lot in the whole game and stuff. What is that? So 4 games in the whole game and stuff. Yeah, you're not gonna win games by that way and stuff. So that's why, if enough of this wasn't really a necessary game overall and stuff. We pretty got beaten from the Red Sox overall. The Red Sox are a pretty good team, so of that. But, it just didn't really go well with the Diamondbacks at all in this game. We're going to go pitching-wise, so enough. The starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks is going to be Mitch Bratt. He went 3 innings, gave up 4 hits, struck out none, walked 3, and gave up 3 runs. So, yeah, he came out pretty early. I don't know why, Lovello took him out too early and stuff. He was only giving up only 3 runs overall and stuff. And then Zach Lytle came in as well. He is mostly the person gave up a lot of runs overall. I know I went in the bullpen right away and stuff. He went 4 innings, gave up 11 hits, struck out none, walked none, and gave up 8 runs. So a tough start. He had a great debut when we were playing the Rockies overall and stuff. But, yeah, the Red Sox pretty much got lit up on Zach Lytle very well and stuff. So not really good in a way. I feel bad enough for him because it just looked like, Lavelle just have him kept going and stuff. But he did the best he can overall and stuff. So hopefully he can have a comeback and, be strong the next time he come to pitch and stuff. And then Dennis Santana is actually making his first debut with the Diamondbacks and stuff. We actually got him in from the trade for the Pirates and stuff. And then obviously Vargas came in to pitch and stuff later on. And fortunately enough, all of the pitchers for the Diamondbacks did not strike out anyone from the Red Sox. Shows enough of the Red Sox were pretty good and stuff. This is a weird thing. I don't know why I didn't really have this much enough of it. the Red Sox starting pitcher, it was actually Alec Gamba or something. Yeah, he went two innings, gave a no hit, struck out once, walked none, no runs and stuff. And fortunately enough, he's not really a good, not a starter pitcher and stuff. It's weird enough of these teams do this and stuff, but the person really did start, came in to the second inning and stuff, and then pretty much pitched like maybe a little bit half of the game and stuff, and then they go more in the bullpen a little bit later on and stuff. So you don't really see a whole lot, and also it gives me a little hard time putting a little matchup with Mitch Bratt as well. So in a way enough, it would be a good matchup if he kept going, but fortunately enough, don't really have a whole lot and stuff. So that's pretty much of that. We are gonna go in scoring and stuff. I took a lot out and stuff. I took the boring stuff, so these are the very important ones. So again, I kind of down a little bit and stuff because there is a lot scoring in this game, and fortunately enough, I'm probably not going to say any of the Diamondbacks because they did get one, but fortunately enough, it was just a sac fly, so really don't really need to talk about. So fortunately enough, all of the scoring was actually the Red Sox and stuff. So Nick Segard hit a RBI double to make it 2-0 bottom of the second. Sidney Rafaela hit a RBI double to make it 4-0 bottom of the fourth. Wilson Contreras was a solo home run to make it 5-0 bottom of the fifth. Ali Rushman, you remember him as a catcher with the Orioles. He got them with a trade deadline. Did a RBI double to make it 9-1 bottom of the sixth. And then Mickey Gasper hit a solo home run to make it 10-1 bottom of the seventh. The final score was 1-11. The Diamondbacks lost another game overall and stuff. Their record is 66-60 and stuff. Not really good start overall and stuff. So just not good day for the Diamondbacks and stuff. So those things happens, not the best, but we gotta just understand enough of we gotta just stay positive and work hard and stuff. Progress, it's just they gotta get just a lot better. I thinking overall this game was a little overtaken and enough of being more surprised enough of Jordan Lawler and Jose Fernandez back and stuff. We gotta play it the best we can overall and stuff. But the Red Sox are a really good team overall and stuff, and they've been playing very much better at the time and stuff. So they just came out there and played the best they can and stuff. So we just need to show our offense overall and stuff, and then pitching wise enough, we gotta look at a little bit better with that and stuff. Zach Latto, this is his second time pitching, so again, I understand you're gonna have here and there and stuff. So hopefully he has a bounce back overall later on and stuff. So that's pretty much of that and stuff. I'm sorry. If you really want me to talk, no, I'm just kidding. I don't want to say that. I totally understand enough of people understand what is literally going on with the Diamondbacks and stuff. Saying about what is, elephant of the room and all those typical things and stuff. The Kento Marte issue is a huge thing is actually going on around the internet and stuff. I can talk about it and stuff. Fortunately enough, I'm not going to say anything about it and stuff. I've been looking at other people's videos and stuff about it and stuff. It is pretty scary information around, not like scary, like obviously hearing about Marte is actually doing pretty good overall and stuff, but fortunately enough, that's only we can't really know at the time. But I have heard other people, opinions and their thoughts about it, hearing about the news, everything about it and stuff. So we can't talk about it. It's just I don't want to say anything negative because that's just not the right thing to do overall and stuff. And I just want to also compare enough of, when I'm gonna say these typical things and stuff, I don't want to like let the audience know enough of like, I'm going to defend Marte in a positive way and stuff. I'm not really trying to do that overall and stuff. We want people to be the safe and be the best at the time and stuff, because we don't know what really is going on with Marte right now and stuff. And in time enough of it's a little like, people are worried. I think that's the most biggest thing. I think that's the a normal thing to feel about and stuff, especially enough of a team like the Diamondbacks, worrying about a teammate, a friend, all these typical things with Marte and stuff. So I understand enough of, not the frustration, it's just the worried about it and stuff. Um, and also just like not just, enough to, I'm not trying to like defend enough of what Marte is doing right now and stuff, and what he did and stuff. Nothing really like negative to that where enough of like, oh, like he did this and that and stuff and I'm defending himself. No, it's just like, I just thinking, what is going to happen. Like I can give my own thoughts here and there and stuff, but in generally of enough of we cannot just see this in a bad way. And, we don't understand enough what really happened to Marte and stuff. We find other things out of enough of what is literally going on and stuff. But fortunately enough, the most biggest positive thing is he is okay. That's the most biggest thing, because the most biggest thing, it would be really scary of enough of he's really missing, we can't find him, and they cannot find him and stuff. That will be the scariest thing about that. But fortunately enough, that is a good thing and that is not the thing. So that's the most positive. So let's think about this in a positive way. I don't want to think about as like the negative way, whatever, blah blah blah, here and stuff. Fortunately enough, what I currently have heard from other people on YouTube, the news, everything and stuff. Fortunately enough of it, he was at in Boston with the rest of the team when they went to the hotel they're staying and stuff. Somehow he was hanging out in the bar, I guess, at the hotel, and that's pretty much of knowing what we know for a fact when he was in Boston. And fortunately enough, we haven't heard anything when he showed up at Fenway for the game. Never went to the stadium. Whenever practice, be ready for the game and stuff. Currently of enough of what was the plan for Marte in the game overall and stuff. He was going to play DH overall and stuff, but fortunately that never happened and stuff. There was a lot of worrying at the time and stuff. So I thinking Lovello, the team, people working for the Diamondbacks trying to figure out what's going on with Marte and stuff. I think they were trying to reach him out and stuff. I think they got a little bit confirmation and stuff, but again, I understand enough of where people said enough of communicate a little bit and stuff, because they're probably like shocked enough of what's going on and stuff, and they were a little bit worried and stuff. But fortunately enough, hearing about he's doing okay, like he's not like like a big afraid thing and stuff. No. So that is the most biggest thing about that and stuff. Fortunately enough, after like 10 minutes of the game was about to start, they literally put him on the RL the RL, I meant to say. And that is the restricted list and stuff. And basically what it is basically when they are unavailable to play due to personal, legal, or others non-baseball related reasons and stuff. When they leave and all those typical things and stuff. So, it's fortunate enough it's a personal thing going on for Marte and stuff. So that's why they put him on the RL and stuff, not then just on the IL as injured list and then stuff. So that's why you have enough of Jose Fernandez is playing in the game and stuff, and that's why they're playing Vargas at second base, all those typical things and stuff. I don't know why Jordan Lawler's in, but I guess he just thought enough of hey, we're missing a couple players and stuff. Let's just put him out there, whatever, and stuff. So it's totally fine. But yeah, it's just fortunately enough of what we know, I don't thinking he is in Boston currently right now, I think, and so because clearly enough of what I've heard from other people of enough of he is going back to Arizona to doing our MRI test, I guess, and stuff. And the weirdest thing is enough of even Nolan Arenado is not even playing this game and stuff, and he's injured as well. And I think he was using a MRI at the baseball stadium at Fenway Park and stuff, and he was using it and stuff. So it's possibility enough of you think about enough of just like, oh, maybe Marte, finding enough of, this will take for a long time for Nolan Arenado to be done, and they don't have no time to, do anything for Marte in a way for his injury problem and stuff. So maybe they find out enough of going to just Arizona because maybe enough of he's more comfortable on that MRI situation or and stuff, or they just never had time to get him back to normal overall and stuff. Who knows? This is just my thoughts and stuff. If this is honestly happening, like why is he going back to Arizona? Like, so I'm just giving you my thoughts enough of like maybe this happened or this happened and stuff. Who knows? We don't know really the right answer overall and stuff. So yeah, that's the most biggest thing right now of enough. There was a little shook up enough for when Lavella was getting interviewed about it, and fortunately he doesn't like it because obviously he cares about Marte and he wants to make him to be safe and everything and stuff, especially enough of the other teammates as well. Corbin Carroll got interviewed, Perdomo got interviewed and stuff, and honestly enough, if they know things and stuff, maybe there's a thing where enough of the Diamondbacks are trying to make it more privately for Marte and stuff to not make so like a big deal in a way and stuff. So they're trying to just respect Marte in a better way and stuff, or if they just don't know the answer and they're not trying to make it as a crazy big deal and stuff. So Lavello is trying to protect Marte the best way he can, and with caring and love and stuff, and there's nothing really wrong with that and stuff. So just showing enough of Lavello has a good heart. Another thing is of enough of it, saying enough of being in Boston and whatever and stuff. Again, we found out enough of he's probably going to go back to Arizona for a MRI test on his leg and stuff, all these typical things and stuff. So that's that and stuff. A lot of people really struggled with enough of this is the second time he's doing this and stuff. I guess he did it again as well last year and stuff when he wants to take a break and was being part of with the RL again and stuff after the All-Star break and stuff, because he was in the All-Star last time with Gino Suarez and Corbin Carroll and all that stuff, and he was part of it. So He took a break. I think he went to like Dominican Republic and all those typical things. There's typical things what happened to his house, whatever. I don't want to get involved of saying those typical things because I don't know if that's right or anything and stuff. I just heard about other people and stuff. Yeah, just the little things. I thinking it's just again just personal things here and there and stuff. You gotta understand enough of if people want to not make it so big in the world and stuff. We gotta really respect that for as the person and stuff, and to us enough to not expose so much what is literally going on because people don't really like that and stuff. So I understand enough. A lot of people were saying that could be like a thing like why of enough, not no respect for the team, whatever and stuff. It's nothing really that and stuff. So yeah, I'm just hearing about like, oh, he should be traded, blah blah blah, here and there and stuff. I'm getting annoyed by this and stuff. Like I'm not a huge fan of Marte overall from this year. He hasn't really played that much, very often and stuff. He struggles. I get it and stuff. He's a human being. He's a professional baseball player and stuff. You're gonna have bad days, good days here and there and stuff. It's just tough enough of having a superstar on your team to do more bad of enough and not really helping the team. But fortunately enough, Marte has been a really good player overall and stuff. He's been doing really, really good at the time and stuff. But just fortunately enough of what is going on right now and stuff is not really going well at the time and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of crazy of it, but I'm hoping of the best for Marte in a way and stuff, and hopefully he can come back and be with the Diamondbacks and stuff. And if he doesn't come back, we wish him luck in a way, but I don't want to doubt that in a way of it because I do want him to be on the team. We want him to be safe and healthy and all those typical things and stuff. So that's all the positive about that in a way and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of crazy how it is and stuff. I don't know how many times enough of the baseball does happen with this and stuff, but I'm not gonna say anything about like, oh, Marte's weird, whatever and stuff. Marte is Marte, okay? Like, you gotta understand from him his where he's coming from and stuff. People struggle. People have hard times. And maybe there's something is wrong with him and generally of enough, not just as a person. It's just like with just other things who knows and stuff. Like I get understand enough of not really confirmation about to your teams of what's going on and stuff. But fortunately enough, hearing enough of he's actually okay in a way and stuff is honestly a better sign than ever than saying nothing or like where is he or whatever and stuff. So I think that's the information right now. Enough of it is a much positive than just like really, really negative, and this is really scary problem in a way of enough of not really a big giant deal, and we just gotta just wait till we have to have some patience a little bit enough of hopefully he does well and he will have a comeback to the Diamondbacks if so. So that's the only thing we gotta really talk about on this podcast and stuff. I heard from other people podcasts and stuff. Do not talk about to the AZ Diamondbacks blah. Those guys are the weirdest people ever. I hate the guy with the white silver hair and stuff. That guy is a full on mother effer idiot and stuff. Thinking enough of Lavella should be fired, whatever, with these compliments because he's, protecting, Marte at the time and stuff. No, We're human beings, okay? Like, we can have emotions and stuff, and we can actually care. Like, you don't want anyone to care about people and stuff. Like, man, you're just a horrible person overall and stuff, if you don't care and stuff. So Lavello does, and Lavello does care about Marte and stuff, and Marte cares about Lavello and the team. So please care, please respect people in the best way and stuff. And if you don't care and stuff, then there's something wrong with you in a way and stuff. And don't say anything negative about Lavello because he's probably gonna kick your ass, you know, because he's not gonna enjoy it. So just all of that and stuff. Yeah, it is a scary thing overall, but hopefully for the best of enough of there's nothing really like crazy wrong or anything and stuff. So it's just we gotta have some patience and we'll see what's gonna happen and stuff. And that's all basically that. I know, elephant of the room. It's crazy and stuff. I totally understand. And again, I'm not trying to protect, Marte in a positive way and stuff. It's just like these are the typical things. Enough of it. It happens. It happens. There's nothing weird about it. There's nothing really wrong about it or anything. If he wants to take a break and stuff, he can take a break and stuff. It's just these things are happening, and also we don't know what the situation and the problems he's having, and if he is having problems, he should have the problems enough to, take back from non-baseball at the time and do his thing and stuff, and that's normal. Okay, people have problems. There's nothing wrong with that and stuff. We're not all perfect. So that is that. Hopefully you guys enjoy this episode and stuff. I know I'm a little over, just not really. I gotta watch today game and stuff, and then I'll be caught up. But fortunately enough of that, again, hopefully you guys enjoy this episode. Have a great day, and thank you for watching.